welcome to Transcendental Transformation, the place where spirituality and transformation unite. Host Miss Raina imparts truth so that you can break through your limiting beliefs and evolve into a deeper consciousness. As you go about your day, remember, before every breakthrough, there is a breakdown. And now, let's start the show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Transcendental Transformation. I'm your host, Miss Raina, and today is Tuesday, March 21st, 2017. As always, we are coming live from the beautiful city of West Palm Beach in Florida. I hope all of you are doing well. What have you guys been up to the last couple of weeks? I am finally back. I'm off my break. I'm finally back, coming back to the world, and like I tell you guys all the time, it is so important for you guys to take mental, emotional and spiritual breaks from the world. We need to recharge. We need to be able to, look at things in new perspectives and kind of analyze and go over our lives to see, kind of what's going on in our life. And so sometimes we need to slow things down. So that's what I kind of did. A couple of weeks ago, I said, I think it's maybe even almost a month ago, I said, hey, guys, I need a break because, even for me, I need to analyze things. I need to see what's going on in my life, especially if I'm feeling overwhelmed or overstressed. So I take a step back and I cater to myself. I make sure that I go to places that have, that deal with me. So I do massages and I get all sorts of different things. But I feel good. I feel like I'm back to my old self. My strength is back, and who I am is back. So welcome back to me. I have been nursing I am a little frustrated with one thing, and I'll be honest with you guys about this. I have been nursing a tendon issue in my foot for about 2 months now. And I gotta say, I'm just not happy with this anymore. I'm not used to being on the sidelines so long, and I am out of all my sports. I thought it healed up, and I tried playing softball in the playoffs a couple of last Thursday, and it just was like, no, you're not even close to being healed. And I think it set it back a couple more weeks. And so I'm out for the rest of my season and one softball league, and I'm probably out of my football league. I just, ever since I got into that accident with the truck, ever since the truck ran me over on my bicycle, I have had injury after injury. And every time I feel like I'm getting, finally back on my feet and I'm finally healthy and a new injury pops up. And I've never been like that. So it's been tough, and I have not been happy, and it's been something that I need to work through, which is one of the reasons for the break that I took, because I need some new perspective on what's going on. But if you'd like to give us a call tonight, I'd love to hear from you. The number is 310-861-2341. You can watch us on our YouTube channel. For some reason, the YouTube link is not working, so if you guys go to the YouTube channel right now and it's not working, I don't know what's wrong. We have a new desk for the studio, and we rearranged a bunch of stuff, but we put everything back in, and for some reason YouTube is not accepting my cameras and my feed right now. So we're going to do that. But the YouTube link is youtube.com/Transcendental Transformation Radio Show. That's all one word. So let's get into this week's question. This week's question comes from Tracy from Tampa, and let me pull it up here on my computer so I can see it. That's why I need my glasses now. And she writes and says, for the past couple of years, I've been working hard on myself, trying to build confidence, self-esteem, and the will to say how I feel. I've noticed that the stronger of a woman I become, the more people, especially men, are turned off by me. Dating has become an issue, it seems. Is becoming more self-confident woman mean guys that won't be interested in me? Tracy from Tampa. Well, thank you for the question, Tracy. This is quite challenging, isn't it? But dating always is. I don't know. I've never, dating is a challenge, especially when we're meant to learn some tough lessons in life, and so you're going through a transformation, and that's going to take some time for adjustment. But becoming strong, becoming confident, becoming a secure person always seems to scare away insecure people, and so you're going to have to learn to adjust to that. You're going to have to learn to expect that type of idea coming at you, and you're going to have to learn to deal with certain people. Unfortunately, in this world, we're in a very insecure world. There's not too many people that are truly secure. A lot of people will tell you that they don't care what, nothing bothers them, that they're tough and that they're secure. But when it comes down to it, they're really not. And so when you actually become secure, you're going to frighten a lot of people. You're going to scare some people, and you just have to expect that. With strength, true strength does scare people. And but the good thing about that is and the challenging thing about that is because as women, we are attracted to strong men, right? We like for the women that are straight out there, they like strong men. They like them secure. They like to feel protected. They like to know that their man is going to be there for them, and that's a turn on, right? Well, it is harder for women. I will say that, a lot of men are intimidated by strong women. That is very true. But there are men out there that are just as attracted to strong women as women are attracted to strong men. But what I have to say to you is that you have to make a choice here, Tracy. You have to make a choice and say, well, am I going to live my life for me, or am I going to live my life for somebody else or them? Because I have to choose who I'm going to live the life for. If I'm going to live the life for me, and I want to, build my confidence, as you say, my self-esteem, and I want to be able to express how I feel and be that strong, independent woman, well, then you're going to have some challenges along the way, and people that don't want that in their life, people are intimidated by that life, are going to have a problem with that, and that's where the choice needs to be made. Every day I have to make that choice. There's a lot of people that are intimidated by my and I'm like, why? I was like, all I am is just confident in who I am. If you get to know me, I'm very lovable. But people shy away from me, and so I do understand what you mean by that. And that's part of being confident, Tracy, is that's teaching you to respect yourself, because when we make a choice that says, okay, this is what I want in my life, this is what I'm going to do, well, then that's respect. That's saying, well, you know what? I need to choose what's healthiest for me. I need to choose what's best for my life. As long as we're not taking from somebody in an egotistical way, but, building self-confidence, building self-esteem, and saying how you feel, that's self-respect. And when you give that up, you are making a choice for them. You're saying, well, I'd rather have them in my life, or I care so much about what they say than what I have to do. So, when you find people that don't have the confidence and don't like that, move on, Tracy, move on. It's that simple. You're going to find people that appreciate you, but first of all, you have to appreciate yourself. Okay, so thank you, Tracy, for your call, or for your email there, and I hope that little bit helps. So if you tune in our last show is every season turns, there is a time for change. Change is difficult, isn't it? Change, and we're going to talk a little bit about change because it kind of has to deal with tonight. But we fear change. We really do. We fear it and we fight it. And I don't know how many of us sit there and say, "Oh, well, I accept change. I'm comfortable with change." But when change really happens, it really shakes us to the core. It really changes us and rattles it. But the good thing about change is it brings about new beginnings. And new beginnings, means new growth. We get to learn. We get to grow. We get to experience. And that's really what it's all about. And that's the reason why I love change so much. I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and I said, it kind of sucks that the friends I used to have are no longer in my life, but look at all the new people that are coming into my life. And, and I cherish the time because I don't hold attachment to those people that I used to be. I cherish the time that I was with them, but look at all the new people I'm experiencing things with. I'm having new ideas, new growth, and new experiences. And you know, that's wonderful. And to me, I don't see why people fear change so much. But you know, when you hold on to attachments, that's when the fear and emotion and chaos comes on. I don't know how many times I've said that during the show about attachments, but if you listen to my past shows, you will hear me say over and over and over about attachments. And why? Because attachments really do create the sense of loss. If I hold this item, or if I hold these people, if my value or my purpose or my security is based upon these ideas or these people or this job, once I lose it, then I'm nothing. And this is all about self-esteem. This is all about self-respect. And see, and change kind of teaches us that if we are having a hard time with change, then we better look at our self-esteem. So let's get right into tonight's show, because I am all excited. I am giddy. I am really, really excited about tonight's show, because tonight we are going to talk about the impulses and desires of the sensual body. Does the thought of Does the thought of sex, or the topic of sex, cause an uncomfortable sensation in your body? Do you want to be more sexually open with your partner, but have trouble expressing yourself? The first thing I want to say to everybody is that this is going to be an adult show. This is going to have adult content. You must be 18 years of age or older, or your parents' permission to listen to this show. So if you are not 18 years of age, because we will be talking about sexual content in this show, it will be a little different from our normal show, which is a general show. But tonight's show, I am telling you right off the bat that this is an 18 years of age or older. You must be an adult or a consenting adult. So, so let's get into it. Sex is really uncomfortable for a lot of us, right? It's one of these topics that make us uncomfortable for many of us. I mean, I'm a very sexual person, and we'll get into that in a minute. But you know, when we talk about sex, do you blush? Do you get shy? Do you get uncomfortable? I mean, it seems like in our country, in America, and you know, it could be in other countries too, except for Europe. I know Europe's pretty open-minded to a lot of this, but you know, here in America, it seems like it's very taboo. Like our society, I know for most of my life, I mean, the thought of sex. I mean, I grew up in an era where, you know, I watched from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, and I watched just on television how you couldn't say this, you couldn't show this. I mean, even with my mom, if you know, I mean, Elvis Presley, you know, would shake his hips on TV, and oh my God, it was so sexual, you couldn't do it. It was so repressed, and so our society shuns this. Our society says it's bad to talk about sex. It's bad to express this. It's taboo, and this is frowned upon. And anybody who expresses sexual feeling, anybody who expresses themselves sexually, you know, is a slut or a whore, because you need to have manners, you need to have morals, you need to have obligations, you need to have all these different rules. And I mean, look at the stress that we put on ourselves just with the word. If I say the word sex, how does that make you feel? I mean, if just hearing the word sex, you know, makes you blush or makes you that, well, then we've become judgmental, you know, and that's really what it becomes about. It becomes about a society of judgment, and we as a group of people take part in this. We allow this. We allow our sexual desires to be frowned upon, to be shut down. But how did this come about? What is going on actually here? Why are we so repressed? Is it changing? Maybe it's changing in this country. But first, let's take a look at our history. And I won't get too much into the history, but our history is based upon a Puritan society. You know, our country has gone through many changes over its course of, you know, almost 300 years now. And you know, but it started out with a Puritan-based society. It was a bunch of religious people who came over. At first, it was people getting kicked out of their country as crooks and thieves and stuff. And then all of a sudden people said, oh my God, there's this country that we can really do whatever we want and we can shape it. And what ended up happening is it all started with an idea called manifest destiny. And I don't know if anybody knows about manifest destiny, but manifest destiny was the idea of God's will. It was a bunch of Puritan people and religious people that came over with these ideas that they knew that they were here to spread God's will. And they went all over and they did whatever they could, and no matter how violent it was, no matter how aggressive it was, because they were doing what God wanted them to do. And one of the things that they thought was linking sex to social decay or immortality, or sorry, not immortality, like not being moral. It's so you sit there and you have these people and they say, well, sex is not something that should be frowned upon. God says this. And in a society, we should deny ourselves. We shouldn't do this because in order for a society to be moral, in order for a society to function, it should have all these rules. It should have all these structures, and everybody needs to have the same morals. So religion really played a big part in our setup, and still to this day, we are a Christian and Catholic-based society here in America. And a lot of people do still have taught, because I even was taught in Catholicism. I went to the Catholic school for many years when I was a child, and I was even told that you shouldn't have sex until you're married, and you're going against God's rules, and you should frown upon it, and you should cover your body, and you should do all these things. And my mom, even I love her to death, but I'm very open with my body. I'm very sensual. I love wearing low cut shirts. I love and just expressing who I am, whether I'm super fit or I have a little bit of weight on me now. I love, because I appreciate who I am, and it drives her nuts. We get into not fights, but we get into little tiffs all the time about it. And she's always like, you need to cover yourself. You need to dress yourself. You need to. And I'm like, Mom, why? Why does this offend you so much? Does it matter? Well, you need to be professional. I am professional. I am very professional, and I dress the way I need to at certain times. But when I'm off at the beach and I want to wear a little skimpy bikini, or if I'm out doing my thing in the fetish community or the swingers parties or whatever, well then you know what? Then I'm going to dress sexy and I'm going to act sexy, because that is who I am and that's what I feel. And I'm not going to be. I never. When the nuns used to tell me it's a sin to act a certain way, I would sit there and I'd look at them and I'd be like, well, why? Why is this a sin? Well, because God said so. And I sat there and I said, well, why is me being, if I have these feelings, if I have these urges, why am I being repressed? Why are these, and I mean, even if you take so many things, there's so many rules, even as far as homosexuality goes. Our society likes to shun what it doesn't know. Our society is built upon repression, and thankfully, in today's society, it's starting to loosen up. We are starting to finally, and a lot of people who are religious, a lot of people who are stuck in an idea, not just religious people, because I even see this in spirituality too, people that are confined to limitations, judge each other because, oh, well, that's not how I would act. Well, that's okay. That's okay if you don't want to dress a certain way. That's okay if you're not comfortable with sex. But allow others to be what they are and to be who they are, as long as they're not hurting anybody. And I think this is a great concept. I think this is great because what ends up happening is we sit here and we start to grow. We start to expand and we start to become more accepting. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsor.
With so many fads and gimmicks in today's world, it's crucial to understand the choices we make regarding what we ingest and apply to our bodies. KM Botanicals custom fusion herbal products help make those choices simple and smart. They use only the purest sourced ingredients that produce high-quality products your body will love. Their specialized custom blends are scientifically formulated to establish and maintain a healthy, radiant external as well as internal dose. domain. KM Botanicals custom formulas are clinically developed by a licensed esthetician to suit your individual needs. Relish in the full line of therapeutic-grade essential oils. Or get creative and combine their high-quality raw ingredients to create your own blends. With custom blends, KM Botanicals prides themselves on the promise that your products will be formulated and tailored just for you. Simply visit kmbotanicals.com to download your personal questionnaire and get started. That's kmbotanicals.com or call 954-281-5613 for more info. Give your body the healthy look it's been craving with KM Botanicals.
If the one thing that this show is to try to teach you is to be more accepting of others and of yourself, because in order to free ourselves from chaos, in order to free ourselves from the limitations and the restrictions of our own minds and feelings in society, we have to be able to accept the ideas. We have to be able to accept who we are. And the more we fight who we are, the more we fight our biological nature, the more we fight these things, the more chaos it comes, because accepting ourselves is about respect. It's about change. It's about all those little things that many of our shows have talked about before. And that's the one thing that I'm happy to see in our society as far as when it comes to our sexual desires. Nowadays, sex is everywhere. I at least, especially down here in South Florida, which is one of the reasons why I came down here, is sex is everywhere. There's adult shops everywhere. There's, you go on the internet, there's adult websites everywhere, and people are, there's a lot of clubs out here that promote sexuality and everything. And of course, we have to be responsible. I'm not, and with our bodies and our choices, but sex is everywhere, and it's growing, because as a basis, as a group, we're realizing that sex is okay, right? It's good, it's fun. I know I enjoy it. I know I love good sex. I love a good orgasm, whether I'm masturbating myself or if I'm with somebody or a couple of people. I love good sex, and it's fun. Who doesn't love? I have never heard anyone, at least in my opinion, hey, I could be wrong here, but I've never heard anyone say, I hated that orgasm. I just, that the time I spent with the guy or the time I spent with the girl, I've never heard that. And so, we are curious, and we are more and more curious. And the people, and I find that I don't know how, as over the course of my life, helping people, this is a big topic for a lot of people. And a lot of people have a hard time coming out. I'll teach them for a year. I'll teach them for 2 years. And the one thing that I hear a lot of times is, Miss Raina, there's one subject that we never really covered. And I said, well, what's that? And I already know what they're going to say. And they're going to say, well, sex. I have sexual issues, or that I'm bi and I'm not really open about it, or that I'm, gay, or whatever the topic is, or I'm just curious. I would like to do more with my husband. I'd like to do more with my wife, but, I really don't know. I'm curious about it. I don't know if they'll accept me. I don't know, maybe you're into some fetish stuff and you don't know if your partner is. And that's scary, right? Because how do I know, if I'm curious about it, how do I know if this is going to be okay? And sometimes that's going to happen. And, and this is why we have to learn to explore, because we are sexual beings. Why should we deny ourselves the enjoyment of pleasure? Why should we deny ourselves what life is meant to be? Life is meant to be enjoyed, right? Life is meant to be pleasurable. We are beings. We are spiritual beings here to experience. So what does experience mean? Is sex included? Hell yes, sex included. Sex is very included in this. And you know what? And no one is going to tell me that to stop enjoying life. Just that you need to stop enjoying life. You can only have sex when this. You can't masturbate. Don't masturbate. Don't buy dildos. Don't buy anything like that. Don't buy these things because that's wrong. Well, you know what? If that's someone's personal opinion and they want to live their life that way, then that is fine. Go do what you. But I want to experience life, and you know what? Part of experience life is experience all of life. getting past all your limitations. And this is part of growth. And this is why I wanted to talk about sex. And this is why the sex topic has come up a few times within, the 4 or 5 years that we've been doing the show, because sex is an important part of the human experience. It is an important part of accepting yourself. And even science says that, hey, sex promotes health. Well, hey, what other issues or what other information do I need after that? Hey, well, if it's going to feel good and it's going to promote healing in my body, if it's going to promote a healthy body, a healthy mindset, well, then that's great. And people sometimes don't even realize this. Do you realize that? And you can Google this, people. If you go outside and you Google sex and healing the body, you will find thousands of studies that show that the act of sex, the act of masturbation actually helps heal the body. Because during sex, there's a load of chemicals that are released from the brain: oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin, phenylethylamine, and so on. And so let's just take those 4 chemicals at once. So we have oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, and phenylethylamine. So if you take those 4 chemicals alone, which are most of the chemicals that are made up during sex, and we have some good hard sex, well, why? Of course we feel good, right? Of course, because all these chemicals are being rushed through our body, and it's impossible to feel. It's impossible to feel bad. This is why so many people have sex when they're feeling bad, because if we're feeling bad and all of a sudden we have some really hot steamy sex, and all of a sudden oxytocin, because what is oxytocin? Let's break down. Oxytocin is touching. So if we're touching our body or someone's touching us, even when you're touching yourself or you're getting a massage, oxytocin is released in the body, and it helps with personal connection. That's why people who don't like hugging have low counts of oxytocin. Oxytocin allows the calmness and well-being of the body. You ever sit there and feel calm and relaxed after a good hard hour or 2 of sex? Absolutely. Why? Because oxytocin is running through your body, and it's going nuts, and it's saying, hey, it's time to relax. It's time to feel good. It's to feel that connection. You ever bond with somebody? You ever sit there, I know women, we love to cuddle, right? We really love to cuddle and just touch, and the guys are like, whatever. But why is that? Because oxytocin is being pushed through our body at that time. When we feel that deep connection to somebody, that's oxytocin. So in a good orgasm, when you finally get those O's going, and in a good orgasm, the 3 main components that are being pumped and flooded with your body is serotonin. Well, serotonin is an antidepressant. It's a natural antidepressant. That's why, I tell people sometimes, with 5-HTP, and so sometimes I'll tell people if they're, even for me, if I have trouble with my mood, or if I have trouble with my hormones, or even sleep, I take some 5-HTP. It's a precursor to serotonin. It helps me sleep, and it helps me get out of that mood. Because why? Serotonin makes us feel good. There's a lot of drugs that trigger serotonin, and that's why the drugs are addictive, because we're chasing that feeling of feeling good. Well, phenylethylamine, what is that? Where is that found? That is found, and I know you women are going to love this. This is found when you bite into chocolate. Why? When we're PMSing. Why? When we're moody. And even guys do this too unknowingly, but women, we're notorious for this. Why? When we're upset, why do we go for chocolate right away? Because chocolate activates this chemical, phenylethylamine, and it activates the pleasure center of the brain. So when we eat chocolate, it releases that hormone, and we feel better about ourselves. That's why we cry. That's why we watch sad romantic comedies and eat a bunch of chocolate and ice cream with chocolate, because it's releasing that. And during a good orgasm, this is being released too. And of course, endorphins. Everyone knows that endorphins are the natural painkillers of the body. It feels good. And actually, if you go and look up studies of sex and pain in the body, so say you have chronic pain in the body and you're moody and you're pain all the time, and it is actually shown through studies that normal sex, if you have sex a lot, and that it actually helps reduce pain in the body. People feel better. You're going to be in less pain. Why? Because those natural chemicals are being pumped through the body. I say, hey, why are you denying yourself? If you are shy, if you are denying yourself the exploration of going out there and trying new things, or afraid of different things, especially if you have chronic pain and you have a partner that's able and willing, you may not feel like you want to actually have sex, but I tell you, start having sex on a regular basis and you will start to feel better. And hey, go there. There's the studies are out there. But what I want to tell you is also, when we're shy, when we're doing this, it's easy to get embarrassed. It's easy for us to be able to, to shy away from things because our partners and what we're taught, what our conditioning. I mean, this may be all fine and dandy when we're sitting here and saying, well, hey, okay, Miss Raina told us about all the chemicals. She told us about the orgasm. She told us about all those. But, I'm still having trouble with sex. I'm still shy. I'm still embarrassed. Some people, yes, they have sex all the time because they feel bad. And, they turn to sex because they subconsciously understand, hey, sex equals feel bad. But let me ask you this then. If you're shy and you're embarrassed, then what is it that makes you uncomfortable? What is causing the uncomfortability? Well, as a pro-dom, it's my job to induce great pleasure. And Miss Raina, for those of you who don't know, Miss Raina is actually short for Mistress Raina. And what does Mistress stand for? It stands for Master of Pleasure. It is a person that is supposed to be the best in their field at inducing pleasure in someone else. And this is why I love it. This is why at the thought of doing this type of stuff, when I first got into this and I sat there and I said, well, wow, I remember looking at a girl with strapped up leather. And it was in a magazine one time, and I remember looking at her and just, she was so sexy, and something just clicked in my brain, and I was just like, wow, this is sexy, and I don't know why, but it just clicked, and I said, let me check out this world, let me see what it is about, and of course, a lot of things were said. I heard a lot of things that weren't true about this world, but in our world, sex is very usual. It's like looking at a tree outside. I'm looking out my window right now and I see a bunch of trees. Okay, I see trees every day. That doesn't mean I get excited over them anymore because I'm so used to having naked bodies around me. I've been a massage therapist for many, many years. I've done acupuncture, all these other things, and I'm constantly around this stuff, plus my personal lifestyle. And so naked bodies and sexual activities are no big deal to me. I have become desensitized in the thing because I have put myself in that spot. I have put myself past my uncomfortability because sex is powerful. At one time, believe it or not, I was shy. As forward as I am and as open as I am, believe it or not, because of my upbringings, because I had people telling me that sex was a sin and that I need to find that one person, and if you have sex with anybody else, it's wrong. So I felt embarrassed when people would bring up sex. I would blush and be like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, I ran into this photo and it changed my life. And why do I remember it so clearly? Because I'm so thankful for seeing that image because it opened my eyes up. And my curiosity got the better of me. Why? Because I listened to myself. Sure, it was uncomfortable for me. But because I eventually realized that sex was so powerful that it was used to create feeling. It was used to create expression. It forms a bond between two or more people that are joined together by an energetic level. And that's what being a dom for me is all about. That's why I became a dom, was because I'm able to take someone who can't get to a certain place, because do you guys understand that there's more than one type of orgasm? Do you even know there's an act, and we'll get into it in a second, but there's this thing called a full body orgasm. But being a dom, I am allowed to create that for. I am allowed to share my experience with somebody, because to me, my sexual experiences are spiritual. Everything that I do is a spiritual practice, whether it's healing, doing the radio show, whether it's public speaking, whether it's doming, whether it's having sex with a partner or something like that. It is a spiritual practice for me, and it's all the same. I share my energy the same. The energy comes from love on the deepest level. I am able to express my truest most form, and I'm able to express who I am without limitation. And that is so powerful. When you deny yourself, the form of masturbation, when you deny yourself sex with somebody because you're embarrassed, or when you deny even your partner, say like your partner, you have someone that wants and is open and willing, and you deny them that because you're insecure, but maybe you're still curious about it. You are stopping the sharing of pure energy. You are stopping your self-expression, and that is why there is something that is missing throughout your life. That is why you have an idea that you just can't seem to put a finger on. We'll be right back after these messages from the Life of Raina.
A message from the Life of Raina. We live in a world faced with many tough challenges. Our lives become chaotic and filled with disaster ever so quickly, most of the time before we even realize. Our issues beat down our mental mindset, and an imbalance of emotions become prevalent. The Life of Raina is dedicated to helping people on the deepest spiritual level. Miss Raina, the creator of Transcendental Development and Growth, works on your core issues and finds the solutions which allow you to break free from the emotional bondages of life, helping you achieve the life you've always wanted to live. Isn't it time that you lived life for you? Call the Life of Raina, 561-846-2190, and schedule your appointment today. That's 561-846-2190. Or email thelifeofraina@icloud.com.
What is the most intimate level that you want to go to? What is your deepest desire? What is it that you really want? What is it that you're looking for? When it comes to sex, what is it that you enjoy? Do you know what you enjoy? Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever thought and dabbled into things? Because I've done it all. I've seen it, done it all. There's nothing in the fetish community. There's nothing that people can come to me and say that actually shocks me. I've seen it all. That doesn't mean I would do it myself. That doesn't mean that I'm for it. But I am open-minded to that, because if that brings someone pleasure and they're not hurting someone in any way, or an animal or anything like that, then you know what? Then hey, go knock your socks off. Do whatever it is that you enjoy that gets your rocks off, because that is what sex is all about. That is what expression is all about. The old saying, to each his own, really does apply in so many ways, doesn't it? And sex is one of them. When I got into this field, when I got into the fetish lifestyle and even the swingers lifestyle and even polyamorous, I don't know how many people, even in the gay community, will tell me, well, I don't agree with that. How can you love more than one person? Well, because I'm sharing energy. I'm sharing experiences with them, and I want them to be able to share back with somebody else and me. And that's not saying let's be reckless and have unprotected sex and yada, yada, yada. I'm not saying that at all, because I'm very cautious. I'm very protective. I care about diseases and all sorts of stuff. But the sharing of energy, I am not going to deny. That person feels me, and I feel them. And even when I'm singing with somebody, even if I'm not having direct intercourse with somebody, and I'm actually in a scene, because in the fetish lifestyle they call it singing when you're actually doing a dom-sum like a thing, and I'm actually bonding, and energy is going in and out of us, and it is the most awesome feeling in the world. And as they're orgasming and I'm orgasming, and hey, it's a win-win, right? I get to bring someone pleasure, and at the same time I get that too. So we have to take a look at that, and that's not for everybody, but we have to be able to take a look at ourselves and truly ask ourselves, what is my darkest desires? What do I really like? And I even hate to use the word dark, because that's like it's taboo, like it should be frowned upon, right? But what is your truest desires? And because I am all for you going for it, but first I have to allow myself I have to allow myself to be open. I have to allow myself to be open to the idea, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally and spiritually. I have to be accepting of somebody else and their ideas. I have to be accepting of some of my own ideas, because if I really want to connect to that person, if I really want to allow them to get the deepest, fullest orgasm that I could possibly give them and put a grin on their face from ear to ear, well, then I want to make sure that I can do that. And as we talked about it a second ago about the full body orgasm, have you ever had a full body orgasm? If you don't know what that is, then a full body orgasm, it's a lot different than a normal orgasm. You feel good, your body tremors on a normal orgasm down in the genital areas, and it feels good. May make your toes curl a little bit, but a full body orgasm, you don't move for 15 or 20 minutes. When I am done with somebody and that opens themselves to me and releases, and we connect on that level, they sit there on the bed or the table for 15, 20 minutes, and they're in this thing called subspace, and it happens. And you don't have to be in the fetish community to do this. This can happen between two ordinary people that are just having regular sex. Even tantric sex teaches you this. What do you think tantric sex is trying to bring into the full body orgasm, the subspace, where you're laying here and you have no clue where you're at for a good 15, 20 minutes until you snap back out of it, and you're like, whoa, what just happened? Wow, that was really amazing. Because that's true connection. That's true sex. I love to do what I love to do, and I will always do it as long as I find people that are willing and able to. I love people. I love myself, and I appreciate myself, and I appreciate my body. My body has gone through a lot throughout this life, and same has yours. And we are given these bodies to experience. That's part of recreation. If you study biology, we're one of only few things, if hardly anything, that actually has sex for pleasure. So how special is this? And then we're wasting it on these false ideas of these books that men made up, or these people, a group of people made up to control population. I say, to start looking at yourself and start feeling who you are, what you want. Start loving and appreciate yourself. Start being confident. Like as the girl Tracy who wrote in today, she said, I want to be confident. I want to build self-esteem. I want to do all this stuff. And what does sex really teach us? It teaches us to think about ourselves and how we view ourselves. How do you see yourself in the mirror? Are you able to take your clothes off and be free? Are you able, if you were like out someplace and you landed in a nudist place or even around, are you comfortable with your own body? Because that tells you if you're confident. That tells you if you have self-esteem. That tells you how comfortable or how limited your mind is. I am I used to be very fit. I used to be boom, 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 muscles everywhere. And now I'm not that person because of all these injuries. I've been sitting around for almost 3 years now, and it's hard for me. But you know what? I still love my body. Yeah, I'm not in shape that much. I have a little bit of fat on me, but you know what? I still love and appreciate who I am, because whether I have a little fat on me or I'm rock solid, I love who I am. And that's great, because I am able to look at myself in the mirror and see people who have better sex and people who have awesome orgasms have higher body self-esteem. And that's a fact. There are many, many studies that show that people who can love their bodies, appreciate who themselves are, and not be so self-conscious are open to allow their body to fully experience sex and compassion and love and touch from another person. I was joking around the other day, because you know how social media has all these little quizzes and stuff, and they analyze your profile. Well, they put on, there was a Care Bear one, and they said, oh, you're compassionate, you don't like violence, da, 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 and everybody loves a hug for you. Well, one of the jokes, it was, well, I don't really hug, because when I was younger, I have a hard time hugging. I still makes me uncomfortable, but I force myself because I appreciate that. So, sex and orgasms and touching and all that stuff, in order for all those chemicals to be induced, you have to allow yourself to be free, because orgasms and sex is just as mental as it is physical. If you don't feel good about you, then you won't reach max orgasm. You won't reach max potential. You won't allow yourself to experience life the way it really needs to be. So you want to do a cool experiment. You want to do something fun and to shock and awe people, because I love doing this. Pull out a vibrator. Go to the store, or if you have one, pull out a vibrator in front of people and watch the reaction that people get. Watch how embarrassed they get. They get all like flustered. Their face turns red and their eyes brighten up. And you know what that tells me right away? Their initial reaction tells me that they have self-esteem issues. Because if someone pulls out a vibrator to me, I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Oh, what kind is it? Oh, that's nice. And that's how I do it. I treat it like as if someone brought a water bottle or a phone. Hey, here's the new iPhone. Oh, cool, very cool. But if you have that initial reaction, that's because you're not exposed to it. That's because your self-esteem is telling you, your mind is telling you, oh no, that's taboo. That shouldn't be thought. Oh, why is she pulling out? Why is he pulling it out in front of it? And I love doing that. I've done that for years to people. And sometimes people are like, Raina, Miss Raina, wow, like I didn't expect that from you. And I just laugh because a lot of times I do it when we're talking about confidence and self-esteem and relationship issues. And that's the first thing I do. Is I walk in the other room, they're talking about their relationship troubles. I walk in the other room, and all of a sudden I pull this out, and they get easily embarrassed. So and then I tell them, well, this tells me right away where your self-esteem is. This tells me how you view sex because you're so uncomfortable by a dildo. All it is plastic or phallic glass or whatever. That's all it is. It doesn't hurt you. It's not going to beat you up. It's not going to do anything, and you're so embarrassed by it. So I want you to force yourself to go out and be around it. I want you to go to adult stores and look around. They're toys. They're toys. That's all they are. It's plastic in a box, or it's rubber in a box. That's all it is. Yes, it may be shaped phallic. Yes, it may be shaped like a vagina. But go and buy something. Experience it. Even if it takes you a while to get comfortable with it, try it out. See what it is. The more you are around something, the more you're going to realize, wow, this isn't so bad. Why did I waste so many years being afraid of this? I mean, I'm telling you, I've had friends that like are afraid of dildos. I'll be like, here, and hold the dildo, and they put their hands up, and they don't want to touch it, and I'm like, it's plastic, it's rubber. Why are you? It has some batteries in it. And the idea of it. So if you're uncomfortable, I want to challenge you. I want to make sure that if you really want to experiment on something, if you really want to experience and you really are curious about things and you're like, you know what, I really wish I can push myself, then challenge yourself. Build your self-esteem, build your self-confidence, and realize that all it is a toy. It's no different than the iPhone. It's no different than whatever. It's no different that everything is plastic. Everything has a mold to it. Everything is shaped. Everything is. It's no different than anything else. But because we put a judgment on it, is that go ahead, watch a porno. Go ahead. There's thousands of online adults. Even at a toy store, there's lots of videos out there that you can go. I mean, there's RedTube, YouPorn, there's Pornhub, et cetera, all these different types of stuff. And, go experience something. Just watch it. It's people having intercourse. That's nothing to be ashamed of. And you're going to realize that this is such a natural thing. And you're going to realize, like I said, like you got to get out of your head. Wow, I'm in my head. I'm not really, this is silly. Let's switch a little bit to partners. So if I look, if our partners, if I'm in a relationship with somebody and are they shy? Are they embarrassed? If I'm sexually open, or maybe my partner's sexually open, do we have different needs? Do we have different sexual needs? Because, being on the same page is very important. And a lot of people, even any psychiatrist, anybody, any life coach, anybody will tell you with knowledge, any sex therapist will tell you being on the same page with your partner is very important. And often people who are on completely different levels of the page have relationship problems. They, the sexual differences divide them a lot of times because, hey, sex isn't everything, but a lot of times sex is important because it shows your partner how much you love them. And a lot of people are insecure, and unless they're getting sex, they hey, my partner hasn't touched me for a while. How many women, and you be honest with yourself, and even guys too, but how many women have said, oh, my husband hasn't touched me in a while. My boyfriend hasn't touched me in a while. That's because I gained weight or I'm fat or I'm ugly. He thinks I'm ugly. And, even guys think the same way when their girlfriends haven't. I know you guys that listen to the show say the same thing. Hey, my girlfriend hasn't touched me in a while. I must be doing something wrong or something, and it starts to divide the relationship. And all of a sudden, all our insecurities start to come out. Things become different. We become standoffish. We become more insecure. And then the thought of having sex with our partner is frightening to us. Are we afraid of our partners? If we haven't had sex in a while, we become afraid of sex all over again. Like it's some big thing. Like we're virgins for the first time. If it is different, start talking to each other. Start communicating with each other. Start expressing what you want. Like I know I need somebody that's into the same things that I do. If both of you are shy, then learn to open up. Learn to open up. Express what you truly feel. And even if your partner says, "Oh my God, I can't believe you just said that," that's okay. That's okay, because you know what, they will get, if they love you, they will get over the shock. If they don't love you and the relationship isn't healthy and it's going to dissolve anyways, then you know what, you're not really sinking a ship that's already not been sinking. So learn to open up. Learn to, if you're trying new things together, but go slow. The one thing that I try to tell people all the time is go slow. Even in the fetish community, when people come in and say, "Oh, Miss Raina, I really want to come in, but I had a bad experience because I tried it and some guy did this or some girl did this and I walked out with this and this and that," and because they went so fast, though, you need to take baby steps. Challenge yourself a little bit. So maybe like the first thing, maybe you want to get to the point of role playing or whatever, but you're uncomfortable. Well, and you've never been into a porn store, or porn stores, adult video stores, they frighten you or they intimidate you. Well, then start with that. Start by just going in the store. And you're going to feel uncomfortable, and someone's going to say hi, and you're going to turn around and run out, because I've done that. I've even worked for an adult store before up in Connecticut, and every time I said hi to somebody, they turned around and ran out. But the thing is that you're looking to just desensitize you, and once you realize that, hey, it's not so bad. Hey, it's just a store. It's just a store with stuff to sell, just like Toys R Us or anything else. Just think of it as an adult toy store, right? Just like Toys R Us, but instead of kids, for adults. And just learn to take things as they go. If you and your partner do not have sexual trust, then you guys are in big trouble. You guys have to learn to build and communicate with each other. Otherwise, you guys will suffer and sometimes even ruin it. In my last relationship, I met this person in the fetish and swinger community, and I thought that we had a real big connection. I thought we were on the same page. And as soon as we started dating, I realized that everything changed. The person I was with wasn't as open as it was. And if I was talking to a guy or a girl, they would come in and be jealous. And it was just and I couldn't be the dom. I'm a professional dominatrix. I am a 24-hour dom, 24/7 dom. That means I am dominant all the time. But and in a relationship, yes, there are give and takes. There are, things, but you can't take away who I am. And all of a sudden, the next thing I noticed, we weren't having sex. We weren't doing this. I couldn't touch the person. And I was like, well, what's going on here? Before, when we were just friends and blah, 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 things were great. But then all of a sudden this happened. And I couldn't be myself, and I found myself shutting down. I found myself unhappy. I found everything became unraveled. And the partner I tried to figure out what was going on, the more chaotic it became. And so I tried to communicate, and it was always blamed on me. And I said, well, what I try. I do everything I can. And it turned out that, my partner unfortunately had some sexual issues and had some personal problems that got in the way. And because I couldn't communicate with that, and because they wouldn't communicate with me, it unraveled. And it suffocated me, and it was hard for me. And eventually the relationship came to a head because I couldn't be me, and this person felt like they couldn't be them. And it just was like, okay, let's go our separate ways. So compatibility is important. You have to learn how to be able to understand each other. You have to learn how to communicate. And if the person's if you are someone that's into some stuff and this person will never, ever try it no matter what, if it's one thing, that's different. But if it's everything, if all these things are very important to you and to your partner or the person you're dating, absolutely not. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you can fool yourself. You can try that, but sooner or later, your desires are going to become too strong, and it's going to affect the relationship. Just like people that are that are gay or transgender, they can deny all they want that they are and try to live a straight life, but eventually it all comes to a head, and they have to give in to who they truly are. Giving in to who you truly are is accepting who you are. So don't you want to be with somebody that you're sexually attracted to and they find you sexually attractive? I know I do. I know I don't want to hook up with somebody that doesn't find me attractive or want to be with me or anything like that. I know that. And hey, that sounds funny that happens. But there are people that are just looking to get laid and they're not attracted. But hey, you're the thing around. But I want someone that's attractive to me, whether I'm in shape, whether I've got a little weight on me, whether I'm injured, whether I'm 40, I'm 26, whatever it is. I want to feel sexy, don't you? And men, you want to feel sexy too. It's not just a woman thing. Men love to feel sexy for the women. Men love to feel appreciate, love to feel, and maybe sexy isn't the most masculine word for you guys, but it is a form of sexy. You want to feel hot for your woman, right? You want to feel strong and muscular and manly, and you want the sex to be good. Both you guys want the sex. Don't you want those intense orgasms? Don't you want that intense pleasure? Sex should never be a Band-Aid for anger and your life challenges. Never use sex to compensate for things that are going chaotic. Sex is meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be shared and experienced. Allow yourselves to blossom and to experience true pleasure, and give in to the impulses and desires of your sensual body. All right, everybody, that is tonight's show, and we got a few minutes left. I'm almost down to the wire. So I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight, and I will get this video up on YouTube as soon as I'm done processing it and everything. But thank you for joining us. If you want to follow us, you can follow us on our Facebook. It's facebook.com/Transcendental Transformation Radio Show. Follow us on our YouTube, if it's ever working properly, at youtube.com/Transcendental Transformation Radio Show. That's all one word as well. Follow me personally on my Facebook at facebook.com/The Life of Raina. Visit our website, soulandspiritguide.com, and sign up for our newsletter to receive VIP access to hidden shows and to the certain parts of the website. And even when we have special guests here, sometimes the guests will offer something only to the people that are signed up to the website, and so you get those special little treats. And keep your emails coming, and keep your emails coming at thelifeofraina@icloud.com. Again, I always want you to remember to believe in yourself, and it's not our abilities or our talents that make us who we are, but it is our choices. Thank you, and have a wonderful night.